catch any of that interview? Hillary Rodham Clinton. She's got that new book, Living History. Talked to Baba Wawa. Had an exclusive interview. Just like that exclusive home she wants to live in, as far as I'm concerned, built with no studs, all tongue and groove. Before I get into that, I had some odd flash. And I don't know when Dick Cheney's birthday is, but if Marilyn Monroe were still alive, can you imagine this? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Mr. Vice President. Happy birthday to you. Why I thought of that, I have no idea. Toll-free 888-723-WTAM. Former First Lady, now Senator Hillary Clinton, has got a new book. Hits the stores, bookshelves tomorrow. If you caught any of the interview, it was basically two broads chatting about the husband being a cheat. As far as I'm concerned, maybe I should give Nate later in the program. I'll give you my Johnny Cash CD and we can play Dirty Old Egg-Sucking Dog and Flushed from the Bathroom of My Heart. As far as I'm concerned, Bill Clinton came from and probably still does, from a weird, strange era, free love, yet mixed in somehow with American Gothic. A hell of a politician. Not a very nice man. I guess that was expected, wasn't it? I mean, while I've sat around and beat up George Bush for what the administration stands for and the war, I never beat up George Bush the man, did I? I mean, I don't think we have to worry about him cheating on his wife. I guess there's that moral double standard. I guess you expected. Wouldn't you have expected, I don't know, LBJ to be getting a little LBJ on the side? Wouldn't you have just expected that? Or JFK to be getting a little FK on the side? Or something like that? You know, you think about, remember Bill Clinton? He jogged. It didn't seem very presidential, did it? He jogged to McDonald's. He jogged. You know, Abe Lincoln didn't jog. Franklin Delano Roosevelt didn't jog. JFK didn't jog. He ran around, but he didn't jog. So, Hillary, what's up?
That was probably the worst moment that I can even imagine anyone going through, because what he told me that morning was that he had not leveled with me or anyone else. He had not told me the whole truth about what the relationship was.
I did not have sex with... Remember when he pointed? It's a classic sign. When you point, it's an indication that physically as well as mentally you're lying. See, but you want to try and make your point extra special sure, right? Because you're fibbing. So you point. I did not have sex with that woman. Not once. Did we have... What do you call sex? If you're in a relationship with someone, or you're married to someone, I was married, I'll ask a good board-op Nate. You're married. Now, it's a fair question. If your wife Jen found out that you were getting a little oral action from some chick at work, you think she'd be pretty upset with you?
Very.
Would she consider that sex?
Yes.
Would you consider it sex? They call it oral sex. Right? So it's got to be, it's sex.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it includes an exchange of bodily fluids and all that sort of thing. So your wife would be pretty upset.
Very.
Very. And that's the kind of thing that could even lead to divorce, couldn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Now, I guess Bill just said he was, apologetic.
I was furious. I was dumbfounded. I was, just beside myself with anger and disappointment.
Really?
He just kept saying that he was very sorry over and over again. And I could tell that he was, but that wasn't much comfort. I was still furious and stayed furious for quite some time.
Well, I imagine you would. Then he offered Hillary a cigar. Here, baby, have a cigar. Have a panatella. It's funny tasting cigar, ain't it? A woman is a dame, but a good cigar is a smoke. Smoke this. And, like I say, with the present president, I don't think we're going to have to worry about him cheating. So, I don't know how to phrase it other than just phrase it. I almost think of the present president, I think of W, as just kind of a pawn. I think of it as, in actuality, it's President, well, there's two of them holding hands. Sounds like a gay thing, but it's not. It's Cheney and Rumsfeld holding hands. And they're the president. Imagine Kasparov and the other guy. Remember them two Russian guys or whatever when they always sat down and played chess? Well, imagine it's Rumsfeld on one side of the table and Cheney on the other side of the table, and there's only one or two pawns instead of 16. And it's W, and they just kind of push him around. Because he's younger and better looking and electable and all that, and then they're not. But they're pretty much just pushing around the pawn and telling him what to do. So if you disagree with anything in the current administration, I guess try not to beat up on W too much. Because he does seem like he's an all right guy, doesn't he? I mean, as far as going out and having a beer with somebody, he'd probably be an all right guy. Of course, see, Bill Clinton would probably be an all right guy to go out and have a beer with, too. I was going to tell a story a couple nights ago about a cop friend of mine who knows a Secret Service agent who rode in the limousine with Bill Clinton, and Chelsea was in the car. And remember when Bill would give those speeches and the AIDS people would always be in the background? Not like Ryan White. I mean, not people with AIDS, to my knowledge, but whatever they were, some kind of disease dissidents. And they'd stand in the back of the room and try and shout down the president. President Clinton. God, I'm so glad I don't have to say that anymore. No, that's a dichotomy, Nate. I get a little message on the board here. Defending W says you're not liberal, and beating up on Clinton says you're not conservative. Well, you know what? Good for me. I'm neither. I try to look at things with common sense. That's why I had a problem with the war. And yet, I think W is an all right guy. Like I said, I think he's a pawn. Bill Clinton pretty much, I think... See, W is a guy who's a politician. Just, I guess, for lack of anything better to do, he couldn't make a baseball team work. Right? So he couldn't figure out how to run a baseball team, so he figured he'd run for president. Bill Clinton was a guy who I looked at as some kind of a smarmy minstrel, some kind of a southern good old boy entertainer. Remember when he was playing saxophone on the Arsenio Hall show? And he hammed it up big time. He just loved the spotlight. So anyway, these these disease dissidents, they were shouting down Bill Clinton. He left the speech, got in the back of the limousine. Yeah, Bill Clinton couldn't sell real estate, so he had to do something. And, I guess our president sort of fails at something else. Reagan couldn't act. Carter couldn't make peanuts work, and Ford kept falling down. That's why he should have used one of those patented FDR chairs. Really? Oh, really? So Bill Clinton got in the back of the limousine, and he used MFF. Did we play a disclaimer? I mean, he used all the nasty, terrible screaming and yelling, which he would never do in public, right? I mean, he's not going to scream and yell in front of the disease dissidents that are the AIDS people that are trying to shout him down. But he used every word in the book in front of guess who? At the time, 13-year-old Chelsea. Nice guy, huh? What a sweetheart. No, he's not a nice guy. What about Chelsea?
I'm going to continue my policy of not talking about conversations with my daughter, but it was a terrible time for all of us as a family.
Really? Yeah, I suppose this was all put forth by the Republican Party just trying to make your husband look bad, eh, Hillary?
I would say that there is a very well-financed right-wing network of people. It's not really a conspiracy because it's pretty much out in the light of day.
Harumph.
That was after his presidency from the very beginning, really stopped at nothing, even to the point of perverting the Constitution in order to undermine what he was trying to do for the country.
You're going to hear that on Rush Limbaugh, heard noon to 3 here on the big one tomorrow. And Drudge after me. I'm sure you're going to hear that cut ad nauseum. Oh, and Glenn Beck, yeah, you'll hear it on that program, too. You're going to hear it over and over and over, maybe on Bill Wills, who knows, yeah. See, Bill Clinton is just, remember him laughing at Ron Brown's funeral? Him and, I don't remember who it was, some other dude come walking out of the funeral home, the parlor there where Ron Brown's laid out, and they're yucking it up and elbowing each other, and, hey, let's go get us one of Laurel Favors. This chick that sucks a mean stogie. And then they realize that the camera's on them, right? And then all of a sudden they're very serious now, the very serious Bill Clinton look. Oh, very serious now. Oh, it's right, we're at a funeral. I guess I'm not supposed to be sporting some wood. I was getting a little chubby there thinking about Monica. Well, Hillary was upset.
It was lonely, very, very difficult. I wasn't talking to my husband. I didn't have anything to say to him. I was so disappointed and angry.
I imagine you were.
It certainly crossed my mind.
Yeah?
I wasn't in a position where I've read about some people who, threw their husband's clothes out the window on their lawn.
Yeah.
I couldn't do anything like that, although, I could have wrung his neck for a million reasons.
Really? Yeah, which neck? Nice pregnant pause there. So that, should just talk to somebody.
We have spent some time having marriage counseling, which I highly recommend to people, especially people who led such busy lives as we did over so many years together. And I think I'll leave it at that.
I think what you ought to do is do a little required reading when you think back on the Clinton administration. And of course, Hillary's had a few years to script out her answers, right? Because they all sound like she's rehearsed them a million times. Get the book Unlimited Access by Gary Aldrich. And it talks about how, as an FBI agent, he came to the White House along with others when the Clinton administration started, when the Clintons moved in and they brought in all their hippie friends, and nobody wanted to wear a suit and a tie, which they were used to under the George Herbert Walker Bush. Wouldn't be prudent, wouldn't be good. Now gotta wear a tie. And a modicum of decorum. For God's sake, you're in the White House. Well, they didn't want to talk to anybody. They didn't want any background checks. They didn't want anything like that. The hippies and the Clintons, and they didn't want any kind of background checks or anything. And the FBI said to them, look, it's for your own good, for God's sake. We're not trying to look into your background to see if you smoked a little pot. We don't care about that. You're in the White House now, and for your own protection, you should probably tell us a little bit something about yourselves so that we can look into your background just for your own protection. And, well, none of the hippies wanted to have anything to do with it. And I'm certain that the FBI is quite pleased now that Clinton's gone. And I'm sure under W's administration, not only do you have chips under your skin, but, they'll fingerprint babies now. In the guise of Homeland Security, they'll fingerprint babies. So, how would you have liked to have been married to Bill Clinton? There's a question for the ladies. No, Nate, you have to put your hand down. I said for the ladies.
I didn't raise my hand.
I saw something in there. You looked a little enthusiastic about the whole idea of being married to Bill Clinton. It's a little...
The following material may not be suitable for all listeners.
Harumph, ladies. Because this is basically a ladies' story. It's a couple of yentas sitting around chewing the fat, kvetching about, Bill. I like how I throw in those Yiddish words every once in a while just for effect. Hillary was asked if, Baba Wawa, do you trust Bill? Do you trust Bill?
Do you trust your husband totally today?
We've really been tried and tested, and we are at the point now that we're looking forward. I hope that we'll grow old together. That's how I look at our future.
Really? Here's how I look at our future. Our future of the weather with meteorologist Betsy Kling, a lovely woman. Beautiful, isn't she? Cute, honey, yeah. Tonight, some showers, they'll taper off, and it'll drop down to about 60, which is what it is right now, 60. Let's look ahead, shall we? Sure, yeah. Tomorrow, some clouds, some sun, low 70s. We laughed, we cried, low 70s. Be the 11th caller right now at 578-1111 in the classic 216 area code. That's the contest line, 578-1111. I got some 4-packs of passes to the advanced screening of Hollywood Homicide starring Harrison Ford and Josh Hartnett. Tuesday at the Lowe's, Richmond Town Square. Hartnett? Yeah, what did I say? Hartnett? One of these guys, I never heard of him. What, am I supposed to know who Josh Hartnett is? I have no idea. I've heard of Harrison Ford. I don't go to the movies very often. Who the hell's Josh Hartnett? Half these people that are up for Academy Awards every year, I'm like, who are they? You get to a certain age, you're like, screw that, I don't care. Who are these people? I mean, if I go see a movie and there's some cutie in there, some hot chick, but I probably couldn't tell you what her name is. I mean, I can't remember that. Who cares? Anyway, be the 11th and 12th caller right now at 578-1111 and get a couple packs. I got a bunch of 4-packs of these things. And Nate, give away as many as you want. Have fun. I'm not going to sit here all night and keep repeating that. We've got some passes to give away, and people, they just love that free stuff. Glenn Beck's Real American 4th of July, presented by Ganley Ford, coming to Cahoon Park in Bay Village. It's going to be a fun, family-oriented day with plenty of games and entertainment and all that. We're looking for entertainers. We're looking for bands. We're looking for magicians. We're looking for clowns. We need this. We need some sacks for relay races, and we need prizes for the kids. We're a bare bones operation here, so if you'd like to help out or volunteer in any way, help out, call the toll-free 4th of July hotline. Right here, take a pencil and write this down, would you, Bob? 1-888-358 WTAM. That's 1-888-358-9826. Listen to the Glenn Beck program weekdays at 9 here on The Big One. Your phone calls and more of the program after these important words and coverage of what in the world's happening on Cleveland's only news radio. I'm Rick Gilmour, the thinking man's friend, and we're WTAM 1100.
Imagine going through what is a very personal, private, painful time in front of the world.
Rick Gilmour.
The old thing was Run, Jesse, Run.
Yeah.
The new one is Pull Out, Jesse, Pull Out.
On News Radio WTAM 1100.
Pull out, Bill, pull out. And it's amazing because, given the chance, had Bill been able to have run, Bill Clinton been able to run for a third term, he probably would have been reelected. Most decidedly, he would have been reelected, whether he cheated on his wife or not. I guess it doesn't matter. We didn't... You know how many people screamed and yelled when that happened? It does matter. Well, it does matter. I think the only reason that Hillary stayed with Bill was because she wanted to run for president and still does. Mary, you're on the air.
Okay, hi, Rick.
Howdy.
Okay, on her first book, they brought out evidence that she had a ghostwriter. She never wrote the first book. They brought that out on another talk program.
Yeah, well, does that matter?
Well,
I mean, she's just a talking head.
Credit for it, and she's trying to claim credit for the second one, okay? But what happens is she's putting on a false front, which is normal for her and a pitch for her bid for that presidency. As far as womanizing for Slick Willie, it has been done for years before he even went into the White House.
Well, sure. Eisenhower had a little honey when he was over there in the European theater. But, of course, if you ever saw Mamie, you didn't have to wonder why. And FDR, he had a little something going. But if you saw Eleanor, bleh.
Well, the only reason she's sticking with him because they have a business agreement, not a marriage.
Well, I think she's a lesbian.
I think so, too, but I'm saying I can't claim it. But they have a business agreement, and her lying is just as bad as her business partner, Slick Willie. She's really fooling the people, but if the people don't wisen up...
Really pulling a putt over our eyes.
That's right. They set a disgrace for the White House. Nobody in history has done what they have done.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? And if she ever gets in there, heaven forbid, whatever he didn't do wrong, she'll finish it.
I think you're absolutely right. I mean, 578-1100 in the 216 area code. Would you vote for Hillary for president? I wouldn't vote for her on a bet.
There's thousands of people have said that.
That they would?
No, they wouldn't.
Oh.
No. The only one that would vote for her is maybe people that act like they do, with the same kind of morals and lying and cheating and stuff like that. And maybe your Hollywood, they would back somebody like that because it's right in their backyard.
How about if you had the choice and you were going to vote in the Democratic primary and you had your choice of Hillary or Dennis Kucinich?
Neither.
Anyone but Dennis? Well, you had no choice. You had to vote for one of them.
Well, how about writing your own?
Well, you mean
write-in?
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, they never get any votes. Neither will Dennis if he runs for president.
Well, won't there be an independent too that be running?
Well, probably. Yeah. Harry Brown will run. Probably Harry Brown. I voted for him.
That's why I wish there was three parties because one is just as bad as the other.
Absolutely. The problem is that the independent third parties and all that sort of thing. Everybody said, the independent parties are going to make a big surge here. The independent parties are going to be the next big wave. And in the last election, they got even fewer votes than they ever had before.
Well, your Republican Democrat Party are so controlled by the party itself, the National Party. They have to walk the chalk line, and a regular person that's in either one of them, they have to be in politics and crooked as well as lying fools,
Well, when I'm a registered Democrat, and you don't think I was going to vote for Al Gore on a bet. So I voted for George W. Now, I'm not real happy about the whole situation with Iraq.
Well, that's the only mistake that he made. But other than that, he sure is a spotlight example for society. I'm telling you about the way he lives his life. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And we need that kind of people in the White House.
Do we?
Well, we need somebody that we can... I'm not talking about the war,
Oh, no, I'm saying... Does it really matter? Because I had people call, and it's amazing because I guess people just like to call the radio station and try and beat you up no matter what side of the coin you're on, what side of the fence.
This is true.
Because I was beating up Clinton during that whole Monica Lewinsky thing, and people would call and say, what does it matter? Who cares? You're just jealous because you're not getting any oral action at work.
This is true.
Maybe I was.
You're right.
I mean, not getting action. I meant, I was jealous. Sex hour. I don't even get a coffee break.
I see your younger generation have nothing to look up to, anything. I don't care if it's in sports or politics. After they find out and these things are disclosed, they don't even care anymore.
How many people still think Sammy Sosa's a great guy, even if he was corking his bat?
Oh, hey, we know that's been crooked for years. What did they do to Bell?
Baseball's been crooked for years.
Joey Bell. What did they do to Joey Bell? They crawled through that space and stole that bat. Remember?
Well,
hey, that's all crooked. Is there anything honest in this world today?
Me?
Well, in some ways you are.
I am.
Well, I can't prove it because I haven't heard you lie yet.
See, now there you go. See, until someone lies to me, and I can prove that they're lying, well, then...
So far, you're all right.
Yeah, so far, then you're not a liar, but then,
Well, we don't know what's going to come out of the woodwork.
Well...
I mean, so many people have surprised us, haven't they?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, just when you think you trust somebody, then we'll find out that maybe President Bush is having an affair. How would that sit with you?
Well, when they start disclosing about JFK, then they're disclosing the rest of the presidents, what they've been doing. But they were a little discreet about that in a way that they were hiding those things. You understand what I'm saying?
Remember Nelson Rockefeller?
Yes.
Having an affair with his secretary and had a heart attack and died. And
he died the right way.
And he died on the downstroke. But his wife, Happy, wasn't too happy about that, I don't think.
Well, I don't know who you can trust today.
I don't know. Well, like I said...
You can't trust a woman, you can't trust a man. What can you trust today?
Well, you can trust me, Rick Gilmour, M.D. and Doctor of Divinity.
Is that what it is?
Yes, I'm a
keep
reverend.
Keep up the good work,
All
and
right.
please don't lie, because we don't like liars anymore.
No, I don't. All right, thanks, Mary.
All right, bye-bye.
Yeah. Now, if you had the choice of Hillary or Kucinich, what would it be? Gee, I don't know. Should I throw up in a pot and eat it the next day for lunch, or should I eat it cold, or should I heat up the vomit first? Bleh. Why are you two still together?
I'm often asked why Bill and I have stayed together. All I know is that no one understands me better, and no one can make me laugh the way Bill does. Even after all these years, he is still the most interesting, energizing, and fully alive person I have ever met.
Boing.
Bill Clinton and I started a conversation in the spring of 1971, and more than 30 years later, we're still talking.
About what? That's a long conversation. Have a Panatella. Have a blunt. Bill's got a blunt. Yeah. What a question. What a choice. Hillary or Dennis? It's like hospital food, airplane food, airline food, hospital food. That's the problem. The problem that the Democrats have, they have no compelling candidates. No one. Kerry, Gephardt, Kucinich, Hillary, they have no and they don't have any ideas that are any different than the Republicans. See, the two-party system, they've become so intertwined almost that everyone's almost sitting on the... It seems like it. Bill was sitting on the fence and wobbling back and forth. And W has been known to sit on the fence.
Imagine going through what is a very personal, private, painful time in front of the world.
Rick Gilmour.
The old thing was run, Jesse, run.
Yeah.
The new one is pull out, Jesse, pull out.
On News Radio WTAM 1100.
Pull out, Bill, pull out. And it's amazing because, given the chance, had Bill been able to have run, Bill Clinton been able to run for a third term, he probably would have been reelected. Most decidedly, he would have been reelected, whether he cheated on his wife or not. I guess it doesn't matter. We didn't. You know how many people screamed and yelled when that happened? It does matter. Well, it does matter. I think the only reason that Hillary stayed with Bill was because she wanted to run for president and still does. Mary, you're on the air.
Okay, hi, Rick.
Howdy.
Okay, on her first book, they brought out evidence that she had a ghostwriter. She never wrote the first book. They brought that out on another talk program.
Yeah, well, does that matter?
Well,
I mean,
because
she's just a talking head.
credit for it, and she's trying to claim credit for the second one, okay? But what happens is she's putting on a false front, which is normal for her and a pitch for her bid for that presidency. As far as womanizing for Slick Willie, it has been done for years before he even went into the White House.
Well, sure, Eisenhower had a little honey when he was over there in the European theater, but of course, if you ever saw Mamie, you didn't have to wonder why. And FDR, he had a little something going, but if you saw Eleanor, bleh.
Well, the only reason she's sticking with him because they have a business agreement, not a marriage.
Well, I think she's a lesbian.
I think so, too, but I'm saying I can't claim that. But they have a business agreement, and her lying is just as bad as her business partner, Slick Willie. She's really fooling the people, but if the people don't wisen up...
Really pulling a putt over our eyes.
That's right. They set a disgrace for the White House. Nobody in history has done what they have done.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? And if she ever gets in there, heaven forbid, whatever he didn't do wrong, she'll finish it.
I think you're absolutely right. I mean, 578-1100 in the 216 area code. Would you vote for Hillary for president? I wouldn't vote for her on a bet.
There's thousands of people have said that.
That they would?
No, they wouldn't.
Oh.
No. The only one that would vote for her is maybe people that act like they do, with the same kind of morals and lying and cheating and stuff like that. And maybe you're Hollywood. They would back somebody like that because it's right in their backyard. How
about if you had the choice and you were going to vote in the Democratic primary and you had your choice of Hillary or Dennis Kucinich?
Neither.
Anyone but Dennis? Well, you had no choice. You had to vote for one of them.
Well, how about writing your own?
Well, you mean
write-in?
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, they never get any votes. Neither will Dennis if he runs for president.
Well, won't there be an independent too that be running?
Well, probably. Yeah. Harry Brown will run. Probably Harry Brown. I voted for him.
That's why I wish there was three parties because one is just as bad as the other.
Absolutely. The problem is that the independent third parties and all that sort of thing. Everybody said, the independent parties are going to make a big surge here. The independent parties are going to be the next big wave. And in the last election, they got even fewer votes than they ever had before.
Well, your Republican-Democrat Party are so controlled by the party itself, the National Party. They have to walk the chalk line, and a regular person that's in either one of them, they have to be in politics and crooked as well as lying fools,
Well, when I'm a registered Democrat, and you don't think I was going to vote for Al Gore on a bet. So I voted for George W. Now, I'm not real happy about the whole situation with Iraq.
Well, that's the only mistake that he made. But other than that, he sure is a spotlight example for society. I'm telling you about the way he lives his life. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And we need that kind of people in the White House.
Do we?
Well, we need somebody that we can... I'm not talking about the war,
Oh, no, I'm saying... Does it really matter? Because I had people call, and it's amazing because I guess people just like to call the radio station and try and beat you up no matter what side of the coin you're on, what side of the fence.
This is true.
Because I was beating up Clinton during that whole Monica Lewinsky thing, and people would call and say, what does it matter? Who cares? You're just jealous because you're not getting any oral action at work.
This is true.
Maybe I was.
You're right.
I mean, not getting action. I meant, I was jealous. Sex hour. I don't even get a coffee break.
I see your younger generation have nothing to look up to, anything. I don't care if it's in sports or politics. After they find out and these things are disclosed, they don't even care anymore.
How many people still think Sammy Sosa's a great guy, even if he was corking his bat?
Oh, hey, we know that's been crooked for years. What did they do to Bell?
Baseball's been crooked for years.
Joey Bell. What did they do to Joey Bell? They crawled through that space and stole that bat. Remember? Well, hey, that's all crooked. Is there anything honest in this world today?
Me?
Well, in some ways you are.
I am.
Well, I can't prove it because I haven't heard you lie yet.
See, now there you go. See, until someone lies to me and I can prove that they're lying,
Yeah.
well, then...
So far, you're all right.
Yeah, so far, then you're not a liar, but then, you know...
Well, we don't know what's going to come out of the woodwork.
Well...
I mean, so many people have surprised us, haven't they?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah,
Yeah.
just when you think you trust somebody, then we'll find out that maybe President Bush is having an affair. How would that sit
Well,
with you?
when they start disclosing about JFK, then they're disclosing the rest of the presidents, what they've been doing. But they were a little discreet about that in a way that they were hiding those things. You understand what I'm saying?
Remember Nelson Rockefeller?
Yes.
Having an affair with his secretary and had a heart attack and died. And
He died the right way.
and he died on the downstroke. But his wife, Happy, wasn't too happy about that, I don't think.
Well, I don't know who you can trust today.
I don't know. Well, like
You
I
can't
say,
trust a woman, you can't trust a man. What can you trust today?
well, you can trust me, Rick Gilmour, M.D. and Doctor of Divinity.
Is that what it is?
Yes, I'm a
keep
reverend.
up the good work,
All
and
right.
please don't lie because we don't like liars anymore.
No, I don't. All right, thanks, Mary.
All right, bye-bye.
Yeah. Now, if you had the choice of Hillary or Kucinich, what would it be? Gee, I don't know. Should I throw up in a pot and eat it the next day for lunch, or should I eat it cold, or should I heat up the vomit first? Bleh. Why are you two still together?
I'm often asked why Bill and I have stayed together. All I know is that no one understands me better, and no one can make me laugh the way Bill does. Even after all these years, he is still the most interesting, energizing, and fully alive person I have ever met.
Boing.
Bill Clinton and I started a conversation in the spring of 1971, and more than 30 years later, we're still talking.
About what? That's a long conversation. Yeah, have a panatella. Have a blunt. Bill's got a blunt. Yeah. What a question. What a choice. Hillary or Dennis? It's like hospital food, airplane food, airline food, hospital food. That's the problem. The problem that the Democrats have, they have no compelling candidates. No one. Kerry, Gephardt, Kucinich, Hillary, they have no and they don't have any ideas that are any different than the Republicans. See, the two-party system, they've become so intertwined almost that everyone's almost sitting on the... It seems like it. Bill was sitting on the fence and wobbling back and forth. And W has been known to sit on the fence and wobble back and forth. You know, they want to please everybody. And what do you get when you try to please everybody? Well, you had what happened in the last election. Half the people liked one guy and half the people liked the other. And, I mean, it wasn't like 3/4 of the people voted for W. And they have nothing to say that's any different. That's what's wrong with the Democratic Party. They don't have any fresh ideas. Why would you want to vote for them? It really doesn't matter. I mean, the old debate of... I mean, the Democratic Party, it's changed. It's not the same party as it was if you're in your 70s or your 80s or your 60s. And the party changed. And it seemed to, I don't know, just be all in support of militant lesbians and trying to shout down any woman's right to have an abortion. And embracing ideas that were just so liberal. You've listened to Rush Limbaugh, haven't you? He's way, 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 way over to the right. Way back. Back. It's out of here. Trying to get some balance in the middle. I guess the problem that we have is, Rush Limbaugh, quite literally, in my view, almost ruined talk radio. Because everybody wanted to be another Rush Limbaugh. everybody wanted to line up and be a baby Rush, because Rush hit a home run with his conservative views. Where were the liberal viewpoints? I don't know. You know where the liberal viewpoints went? People were just afraid to go there because the liberals went so far left. Sounded like a bunch of idiots. John, you're on the air.
Hey, Gilly, how are you?
Great.
Hey, I am in D.C. I was just listening to your show. You're crystal clear here. And, you have an interesting topic. I wanted to just pitch in my 2 cents. I was invited to a political meeting by a political action committee who was trying to see if I would donate some money. I didn't want to donate the money, but they just said, "Why don't you come?"
Are you rich?
No.
Oh.
They just wanted to see if I would, come up with something.
Sure, they'll take money from anybody, even if they're poor.
Yes, and this meeting was about all the Democratic presidential candidates, making their case to about 150 people. And I happened to see Kucinich there, and my God, I was amazed. I mean, the guy, he couldn't talk 2 sentences in a row. I mean, he was stuttering and stammering. I don't know if he had a rough day or what, but among all the candidates that I heard that day, he was last, in my opinion, in terms of his ability to present the issues or whatever. So...
Well, see, nobody seems to bring this up, and maybe it's just ancient history, and that's why, but I got a long memory. See, when he was the mayor of Cleveland, he had a guy named Bob Wiseman, and Bob Wiseman would tell him what to say and whisper in his ear, and it was like sitting there with your attorney. Don't answer anything until I give you the right thing to say. And Dennis was out there. They used to have meetings in City Hall. I was told about this by someone who worked in the administration and said that they would have these almost like yoga meetings where they'd sit together and turn the lights down and cross their legs and om, that sort of crazy stuff.
Yep.
And then Bob Wiseman would whisper in Dennis's ear what to say, and then Dennis would go out and then and he'd repeat it. Yeah, well, that's not presidential material in my view.
And, he had this habit of just, somebody asks a question and he would close his eyes for 30, 40 seconds at a stretch.
Yeah, he's going,
And so, I mean, just to answer your question, I mean, I would say, I'm not a fan of Hillary, but if you have somebody to be president, if these were the only 2 candidates left, I'd take Hillary anytime.
I'd take a shotgun and disconnect my brain.
Well,
thanks.
That's something I should think about.
Thanks,
bye,
John.
Gilly.
All right.
Big show.
All right, thanks. Yeah, what a choice. Well, you know what? I don't care who was running. Anyone but Dennis. And as far as I'm concerned, anyone but Hillary. Larry, you're on the air.
Hey, Rick, what's up, buddy?
Hey, just talking about, it's not even, as far as I'm concerned, it's not even a valid point because can you actually visualize Hillary Clinton being elected president of the United States?
Well, I can't see neither one running. As far as Dennis, I grew up with him in a neighborhood. He'll never make it. And Hillary, well, think about her being a president. Can you imagine that time of the month? Her freaking out, oh, man, she'll push the button.
Well, she's getting up there. Maybe she'll, she's reaching menopause.
Or she could have one of those Monica Lewinsky flashbacks.
Well, you got a woman in control of the button.
You got to believe,
But they can't even drive. Now we're going to trust them with nuclear warheads?
Oh, I know. I found out something today. I found out there's a lot of people that I know, Rick, that really like you and listen to your show. And people that I didn't was amazed at. I didn't think they really listened to you, like elderly people that I went to get together to celebrate my birthday and a buddy of mine's in Garfield Heights, and I was talking to some people, and I was talking about you, and the majority of people there, they says, he's the best guy on the radio, and everybody I know listens to your show, and they like you, man.
Well, I'm a likable kind of guy.
You are, and you're about the only guy on the radio that's trustworthy.
Well, I haven't sold out.
No, you tell it like it is. You're just like a regular person, a good friend. You tell it like it is, man. And maybe some people don't like that because they can't, because they're controlled.
Well, here's the deal. I try to run this show like we're sitting around at a bar having a beer talking to each other. That's exactly the way it should be. We're having a conversation. And why would I change, you know what I mean? Why would I be one person on the air and a different person off the air? I mean, then you'd have to remember everything you said.
That's why sometimes, like I told you before, talking to you got to watch because it's so comfortable. It's like talking to you in a bar like a friend, and then P's and Q's flip out.
Yeah, that's why the S-bomb gets dropped on the program, because people just get too comfy.
I know, but like I said, I couldn't see either one of them. But man, if I was like on a desert island, I'd have to stick with Hillary because Dennis. Well, I'm not gay, so I'd have to choose her. You know.
Yeah,
She's
well.
a woman.
Yeah, I'm a lesbian. I've been a lesbian for years now.
Really?
Oh, I love women. Yeah.
I do too, buddy.
Well, you're a lesbian too.
Well, I'll tell you what. You have a good one, and I'll be in touch.
I already do. Triple Doppler forecast from TV3 meteorologist Betsy Kling. Tonight, showers are going to taper off. They'll end overnight. Well, we're at our low point now. We're at our nadir. 60. Tomorrow, some clouds, some sun. We laughed, we cried. Low 70s. You're on the lake, 2 to 4 foot waves, and water temperatures up to 61 degrees. Bill Wills is going to be speaking with former First Lady Hillary Rodham Clinton, not my favorite person, next week on Wills and Coleman in the Morning, right here on News Radio, WTAM 1100. Jake in Oil City.
You were correct, sir.
You were in Barkeyville at one point, but you're a truck driver, and you're in Oil City, Pennsylvania now. And where is Oil City?
Probably about 20 miles north of Barkeyville, right on Route 8. Good old Route 8.
When you first called years ago, I thought you were making up that name, Barkeyville.
I know, and every time you get a new call screener / producer, they're always like, Barkey what? Do what?
Well, how big's Barkeyville?
Not very big.
8,000 people or something?
Probably like 500.
Oh, boy.
There's a truck stop up by the Super Slab.
So that's what put Barkeyville on the map.
Yeah, I don't know that it's actually on the map yet, but yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, that's why truck drivers would know where Barkeyville's at.
Correct.
If they drive through Pennsylvania, they want to stop and get a little action.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know if they're that there.
I don't know.
I might go back.
Leave the light on in the truck. Isn't that supposed to be an international code sign there for you're looking for a whore?
Well, I think you get those whores with kickstands then.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, so don't leave your light on.
Yeah, like the 10-4 good buddy.
Yes, good, definitely good buddies.
Yeah.
It's gotten to the point where it's so bad that when they do call over the CB, they don't even say. It used to be like, anybody need a BJ, go to 17, so you get a channel 17, obviously. Well, they don't even say that anymore. They just come on and say 17, and it's like everybody knows that's what you're going there for.
So people have a CB, they might want to keep it off 17.
Well, it changes everywhere. I think my most interesting CB, I guess, request was over by Cuyahoga Falls when we used to run over there. You run through Ohio, the truck speed's 55. You want to go a little faster than that, so, you leave the radio on. Well, it's Sunday night. I'm waiting for you to come on. I get the radio off. It's not 9 o'clock yet. So I get the CB on, riding along. Here comes the guy on. Break 19 for a radio check. Well, I'm thinking he's a weirdo, so I don't answer him and say his radio's working. He does it again. I'm like, well, maybe this is just some poor jamoke, and, he thinks his radio's busted. So anyways, I go, yeah, your radio's working, driver. And he goes, yeah, hey, by the way, you interested in a three-way with me and the wife? And I'm like, I shouldn't have answered him. I didn't twice, but the third time's the charm. So it wasn't bad. She was pretty good looking.
Oh, there you go.
Anyways, no, I didn't.
No, I didn't think you did.
Hey, here, I work with truck drivers. I get back and I tell the guy about the story because I thought it was funny, and he says, well, dude, I would have went over and watched. I'm like, I just don't. I'm okay with that. I can leave it go.
Right. You called about Dennis Kucinich. Can I get you to hold?
You can do that, sir.
All right, hang on, Tiger. Never did get to the Dennis Kucinich part of the conversation there. We were too busy talking about three-ways. Breaker 19 for a radio check. And if Jake's calling, well, long distance, maybe you want to hang up and call back. I don't know. It's up to you. It's your call. 578-1100 in the 216 area code. I'm Rick Gilmour, the thinking man's friend. More of your phone calls, more of the program after these important words and coverage of what in the world's happening on Cleveland's only news radio, WTAM 1100.
The following material may not be suitable for all listeners. Listener discretion is advised.
I would say that there is a very well-financed right-wing network of people. It's not really a conspiracy because it's pretty much out in the light of day, that was after his presidency from the very beginning, really stopped at nothing, even to the point of perverting the Constitution in order to undermine what he was trying to do for the country.
Rick Gilmour Show on News Radio WTAM 1100.
Well, what the hell does that mean, Hillary? Hillary Rodham Clinton, senator from New York, former First Lady, interviewed by Baba Wawa earlier. This vast right-wing conspiracy. Hey, your husband's the one who unzipped his fly. Right? What kind of right-wing conspiracy is that? 578-1100 in the classic 216 area code. Toll-free, 888-723 WTAM. Well, speaking with...
Breaker 19, this here's a rubber duck. You got a copy on me,
yeah.
Ben? Come on.
Speaking with Jake from Barkeyville, a truck driver. I'm playing a little convoy for you. Thanks for holding through the break.
Well, thanks for playing convoy for me.
You know what's funny is the guy who did convoy, what was his name?
C.W. McCall?
Yeah. Somebody said he's in, I can't think of the Christmas group that plays the big orchestra music. It's not Mannheim Steamroller. I think
that's the one I was going to say, so...
Yeah, a Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Somebody said C.W. McCall's in that. And I thought, well, now, there's a stretch. I suppose anything's possible.
A change of venue, perhaps?
But maybe. We were talking a little politics. Hillary, if you had your choice of Hillary or Dennis Kucinich, I'd shoot myself.
Well, I'd have to go. I was, under penalty of death, I had to choose between the two, so I chose Kucinich just for the humor factor. I mean,
would be pretty
we had
funny.
Clinton. What's that?
I said it would be pretty funny.
Well, we had Clinton for 8 years, and it was like, Jay Leno and Conan O'Brien and David Letterman. They didn't have to have any writers. They fired all the writers for the 8 years of the Clinton administration because they just read the regular news. It was so hilarious.
It was pretty amusing.
Hillary, she's just keeping up this fight between the so-called conservatives, so-called liberals, when in politics, they're all the same. And, the issue of Monica, the issue of Jennifer Flowers, you know what? I only spoke about that when I was joking. The real issues was NAFTA and GATT. Why the hell are you bombing Serbia? That's not our problem. The guy never said a word about us, Slobodan Milosevic. Never said a word about us. And we got to go over there and do that. Motar Riyadi, the dude in Indonesia, Clinton was taking money from. John Wong, Charlie Tree, 150 people pleading the fifth or fleeing the country because they didn't want to testify against Clinton. Those are the issues, Hillary. Don't forget about those things. I mean, it's great to say, they just cared about the bill having sex. Well, I didn't care about it. I cared about those issues and me losing my job and everybody else in this country. And now, we got nut jobs on the radio saying we need casinos Oh, wait, that was you.
Yeah, that was me. I didn't say we need them everywhere. I just thought that one would be nice so that people wouldn't take their money out of state. Bob the Jellyfish Taft, the governor who's really a puppet of Senator Voinovich, he's never going to go for that because he doesn't have the backbone to go up against the Catholic Church and bingo in the Ohio lottery.
What is he? What would he be? A grandson, great-grandson of the President Taft or something?
Something like that. Yeah, I mean, he's related. I'm not sure if I think he's a great-grandson.
Okay, I think his great-grandfather did a really good job. Just speaking of the jobs and stuff, he was the big trust buster after Teddy Roosevelt, who was another guy who, at that point stood up for the American people and the American worker and said, "Whoa, you companies, just doing whatever you want. This ain't working out for the American people."
And he was pretty funny too, because he got stuck in the White House bathtub.
Yes, my kids think that's the funniest thing. When I point to him, they always say, I don't know his name, but he got stuck in the bathtub.
Yeah, he was a big feller.
But
about 340.
He's the largest one, definitely the largest one, not in, stature. But anyways, it's just ridiculous. Like I said, we keep going back and forth with the Democrat, Republican. You're right, the Democrats don't have any ideas, because I listened to their debate on C-SPAN radio, and all they said was, the one said, we need universal pre-kindergarten. The other one said, we need universal health care. And the other one said, we need universal butt wiping. I don't know. Just there was all these programs. And they did ask Kucinich, they said, Mr. Kucinich, you seem to be in favor of a lot of these programs. Is there any entitlement program that you're not in favor of? He took a second and then said, no, I'm in favor of them all.
Yeah, I remember that. You have to start asking yourself a question, and I asked the same thing of the Bush administration. Whenever we decide we're going to just throw money around, where's it coming from?
Right.
I mean, do we just print more? There's no gold to back up our money. We just print more? I don't get it.
You get into that, so-called conspiracy theory of there not being a gold standard anymore. Well, I don't think it's much of a conspiracy theory, because there is no gold standard anymore, and we are just printing money with nothing to back it up.
Well, I know. It's the truth. That's what it... I mean, you know what I mean? It's not a conspiracy or a weird theory. It's just common sense. I mean, you just look at it and you go, well, the last president that tried to get into Fort Knox to look at the gold was Eisenhower, and they said, sorry, we're mopping the floor today. You might slip and fall. You can't come in.
I guess that was part of his beware the other conspiracy that he talked about that we're not supposed to know about.
The military.
Yeah, right.
Well, which of course made Eisenhower who he was.
Well, I think he was one of the. I think Kennedy was kind of a joke. I think Nixon did some good things, but after that, it's kind of, the Ford, whatever. You shouldn't have never been in there. Carter, he's still in that case. Him and his wife were on the other day, and they were saying, well, people need to volunteer more and do this, that, and the other. Well, you know what? If he didn't start deregulating everything and freaking sending our jobs everywhere, maybe we could volunteer. Maybe we could work 40 hours a week and come help you build somebody's house, in wherever, Georgia, that you're, so famous for now. Help us out a little bit, and we'll help you. And that gets to my last and final point here. I got a census, they called it, from the Republican National Committee. That's where I'm registered. And I filled it out, and then I attached a piece of paper and just basically said, you know what, if you guys help me out, I'll help you out, because what you want is money. And that's fine, because you need money to do things, but you're not any different from the Democrats. You both voted for left and got, and 90% of the people didn't want it. So I really think we need to get smart, vote with our dollar. If you don't like the Middle East issue, buy your gas at Sunoco, because they have the least amount of it. Quit shopping at Walmart, you freaks. Just vote with your dollar and do it smart.
Yep.
Buy things that are made in Cleveland. It's not in Cleveland, in your county. It's not in your county, in your state. It's not your state. I'm right next door here. You can buy things made in Pennsylvania. But quit shopping at Walmart and buying crap from overseas.
Yep, you're absolutely right.
Thanks, Rick.
Yeah, you're more than welcome. The parties are so ill-defined. Well, look at people say, look at what happened in radio. Look at how there's 3 companies that own everything. Well, that's a big business move, isn't it? See, big business is behind that. It's the Republicans, right? Wrong. Real quick trivia question for you. Who was president during the Radio Deregulation Act of 1996? I know. Bill freaking Clinton. The only reason he's going to have a legacy, and people will think, oh, yeah, he was a good president because my portfolio did well because the stock market was on an upswing. Well, we may end up with W as a two-termer with these wishy-washy Democrats, and look at the stock market now. It closed Friday, what, over 9,000? Over 9,000? I mean, all things considered, people said, oh, my God, it'll never get to 10,000. Well, it did. And then it went down, and the only thing that kept Bush the Elder from being reelected, remember, his approval rating was skyrocketed during the Gulf War I. But the economy tanked, and read my lips, no new taxes. And the democratically controlled Congress went about gang raping him by raising taxes. Or he said, no new taxes. You lied to us. Well, he didn't lie to us, but they sure made sure he did not get reelected, didn't they? I know it's not clearly defined because you cannot clearly define it. That's why you can't sit there and say, well, Republican, Democrat, the parties, it doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter anymore. NAFTA, GATT, New World Order, One World Economy, the Euro dollar, both parties are heading down the same path. We do not elect the president. The Electoral College elects the president. It doesn't matter what party or who you vote for. They already got the sucker picked out. Well, as long as it goes along with the way things are going here, well, then he's a good dude. Now, I don't think it would have mattered whether we had President Gore. Well, yeah, it would have. As far as the military goes, that's why I voted for W. Now, I didn't expect us to end up relying on a wartime economy to try and fix all our woes. Beware the influence of the military-industrial complex. Well, who's profiting right now? Who's profiting more than the military-industrial complex? Gee, had I known we were going to go to war, right, I should have bought stock in Boeing. Should have bought stock in Halliburton or General Instruments. Geez. Halliburton to you. Halliburton to you. Halliburton, Mr. Vice President. Halliburton to you. It doesn't matter who you vote for. Does it really matter? I mean, I guess it does in some small regard. I kind of like the idea of people in the White House wearing, like I mentioned, that Gary Aldrich book, Unlimited Access, that FBI guy that said during the Clinton administration, there were a bunch of fat old hippies wearing tie-dye. They wouldn't put a tie on to go to work. They put tie-dye on to go to work. A modicum of decorum, please. Is your name Fix?
Yep.
Well, you're on the air.
Okay.
That's an unusual name. Is that a nickname?
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen, I've been listening to your program, Rick, and I think it's a great program.
Thank you.
I've been following elections for 50 years, 60 years, a long time. And when Hillary and Bill came to presence in the people's view, she already knew that he was a panhandler with women.
Oh, absolutely. That was not the first time that he'd ever had one of those, the Monica Lewinsky cigar, half tobacco, half tuna.
Right. And she was so interested in becoming First Lady that she didn't give a damn, but she blackmailed him into telling him, if I become First Lady, I'll make damn sure that you're president.
Well, I think...
He followed her advice.
I think she's got more aspirations than just being the senator from New York.
Well, there's a lot of things that go along with it. But I think that she would threaten to blackmail him if he ever stepped out of line. And he did step out of line. And I don't know what she's talking about now, but the information I got when they were running for election, that he was a pretty bad character and she knew all about it.
Yeah, I'd have to believe that she... they have an arrangement, not so much a marriage, I don't think. They have an arrangement.
Sure.
And it would be in their best interest politically if they stay together.
That's right, and she had the technical background where I don't think he did. He was the salesman, and she had the product.
Well, that's right. He's the Slick Willie. He's that Southern Gothic, old-time slimy politician that knows how to sling the bull and make people believe him, like Huey Long.
Yeah.
And if anybody doesn't remember Huey Long, he was governor of Louisiana, and when he got shot, he was assassinated, but when he died, there was a deduct box, he called it, the deduct box.
Uh-huh.
Well, the deduct box had over $1 million in it. We never did find out what the $1 million was for, and we never found out where it went, and that was in the 30s, but that was a lot of money. And, it was just all skimmed, and it was just,
Well, when you get down that area, you can think about the Civil War. Where'd all the silver go?
Yeah, and as far as the South goes, they're still fighting the war. They think they won the Civil War.
Right.
I mean, you start thinking about Arkansas. And I thought to myself, when people called during the last election for president, people would say, well, who the hell wants to elect the governor of Texas? I said, Jesus, they elected Bill Clinton. Give me a break.
If anybody elected Bill Clinton, they'd elect Fred. I don't understand. The people have got the majority vote, right? Supposedly, like we all know that the people are appointed even before the votes counted. But
You're right.
The thing that comes up is if they had all these people picked out ahead of time, why is it that the people don't realize that whatever comes out of this is what they voted for? If the majority are voting for this person, they're responsible for it, and they better eat what they got because the money butchers are going to kill them anyhow.
That's why you get into that weird area where you think, well, if these people are already picked out before we even vote for them, well, then why do we have to go out and vote? Well,
the only reason I go out and vote is because I want the right to say I didn't vote for this guy because I never win.
Well, that's true, and I have to vote because I'm a notary public, and that's, I have to follow.
Well, I have to vote my own democratic way because of the fact I'm a combat fatigue veteran, and I gave my life for the Republic of United States, and it seems as though the America they have now is nothing but a pile of dirt.
Well, and the Democratic Party has changed over the years.
I don't think they've changed that much. I just think it isn't a secret no more.
There's a good thought.
They're all money butchers.
It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on.
That's right.
Well, maybe we do need to push for an independent third party.
Well, after all, when you think about it, isn't everybody in the Congress a attorney at law? Mm-hmm. And if they are, they're incompetent of telling the truth no matter what the hell they do.
Fix, thanks.
Okay?
Yeah, you're right. Wow, if you put it in that perspective, I hate to paint with a broad brush. Well, let me give you your triple Doppler forecast from TV3 meteorologist Betsy Kling. Overnight tonight, a low of what we have right now, 60. Tomorrow, some clouds and sun, low 70s. Mike Trevisano's going to be live from Weymouth Country Club at the Browns Charity Golf Outing tomorrow between 3 and 7. How about that? You get your best Browns coverage right here on News Radio, WTAM 1100. This was something interesting that was emailed to me. Maybe I won't read it. It's not like it's dirty. It's poking fun of the company. Should I read it? It's poking fun of Clear Channel. Should I read it? I'll take a chance. Now, remember, this is not true. This is just, meant to be humorous. The Federal Communications Commission announced today that it's agreed to be acquired by Clear Channel Communications of San Antonio. In announcing the deal, FCC Chairman Michael Powell said the transaction will greatly expedite the demise of the antiquated concept of local ownership of media outlets. Critics of deals such as this need to understand that Clear Channel embodies all that is good and decent in the broadcast industry, and anyone that believes otherwise clearly is not listening to the news. In a statement issued today, Clear Channel CEO Lowry Mays said, "This acquisition is a perfect strategic fit for Clear Channel. The FCC has been a wonderful business partner for the past several years and has carried out our directions with great enthusiasm. We're proud to welcome the FCC into the Clear Channel family of companies." Although terms of the deal were not immediately available, it is said that the acquisition will include all components, operating units, and assets of the FCC except for its sole which was sold in a prior transaction to Satan Incorporated in 1996. Clear Channel, which owns broadcast facilities, shopping malls, billboard advertising, and concert promotion units all across North America, has been on an acquisition binge for the past several years and has recently broadened the scope of its acquisitions to include government entities. In a recent deal, Clear Channel purchased a 50% interest in the U.S. Congress and is reportedly close to striking a deal to purchase the White House. Clear Channel already has been integrally running the George Bush presidency. Clear Channel stock stood at $42.09 on the close of Monday's trade, up $1.39 or 3.42%. Just a little humor there, okay? Yeah, it was rather amusing. Well, 1996. That's the funniest part of that. 1996. Who was president in 1996? Bill freaking Clinton. That's who. Not the Republican Party, and not George Bush. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. I'm Rick Gilmour, the thinking man's friend. Put anything in your pipe and smoke it. Hell, smoke corn silk if you want. There you go. More of the program after these important words and coverage of what in the world's happening. This is Cleveland's only news radio, WTAM 1100.